from wherever you are joining us from. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Samuel Dana. I'm an Associate Capacity Development Expert with the United Nations Project Office on Governance, which is part of the Division for Digital Government, Public Institution Digital Government, which is part of UNDESA here based in Korea. It is my great pleasure and honor to be the moderator for today's session and the webinar, which is on the title, Digital Government Transformation, Driving the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the African Union Agenda 2063. Before I progress, I would just want to highlight that issues about digital transformation or digital government plays a critical role in advancing the 2030 agenda and particularly the 2063 African Union agenda. Issues about digital technologies in particular is being helped or is helping governments to be able to provide the needed services which are innovative and also able to help promote transparency and foster citizens' engagement. Today's webinar seeks to help explore some concrete, actionable steps towards promoting digital government transformation for the effective implementation of the 2030 Agenda and the African Union 2063 Agenda. The idea is that this webinar is bringing together a lot of participants, and as of today, we have received over 1,000 registered participants across the globe, who include policymakers, drawn from the public sector, private sector, NGOs, and other key stakeholders who are all promoting or helping to promote issues about digital government transformation. This section today consists of about 90 minutes, that's 1 hour and a half. And we are going to have our distinguished speakers and who will be providing the remarks during the opening session. Afterwards, we're going to have another session for us to all discuss or have other expert presentations from our keynote presenters. And afterwards, we're going to provide or make time for each participants, including other people, to be able to bring out their questions so that we can all dialogue and address them as we go forward. But before I call in our distinguished speakers for the opening session, I want to reiterate the fact that it's very important we keep to time. And the idea is that we give you the time, try as much as possible to highlight the key aspects, because at the end of this webinar, we're going to have all the materials and all the information gathered and shared on our website, and also brought together in a complete outcome report, which will be made available to everybody. Without much ado, I'll just go straight to inviting our first speaker for the opening session. It's in the past, I have the honor and privilege to invite Ms. Hyeon Kim, who is the head of the United Nations Project Office on Governance, part of DPIDG, UNDESA, to deliver her opening remarks. Ms. Kim, you have the floor.
Thank you, Dana, for your warm introduction. Greetings to you all, Professor George Scott, Secretary General of APAM in Kenya, Professor Oliver Sasa, Managing Consultant, Premium Consult, Zambia, esteemed participants, on behalf of the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, Division for Public Institutions and Digital Government, and United Nations Project Office on Governance, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to this important digital government transformation webinar on driving the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the African Union Agenda 2063. Your participation today underscores the significance of promoting digital government transformation to accelerate progress on the 2030 Agenda and the Africa Union Agenda 2063. Taking this opportunity, I would like to express my appreciation to Professor George Scott and the entire team at APAM for the great collaboration which has resulted in jointly organizing this webinar, with currently over 1,000 registrations. Great thanks also go to our distinguished speakers and our participants. In today's rapidly changing world, digital government transformation has become catalyst for sustainable development and continental integration. Governments can transform and provide innovative services, enhance transparency, and promote citizen engagement by leveraging the power of digital technologies. This transformative potential of digital technologies is key to unlocking the SDGs and realizing the aspirations of Agenda 2063. Ladies and gentlemen, across the world, advancements in digital technologies are reshaping economies and governance structures, and Africa stands at the forefront of this paradigm shift. With a rapid increase in internet penetration, the widespread adoption of mobile technology, and a promising young population, the African continent is well positioned to utilize digitalization as a catalyst for leapfrogging traditional development paths. Nonetheless, amidst all this enormous potential lies the challenge of bridging the widening digital divide. Sub-Saharan Africa continues to face challenging circumstances, including underdeveloped digital infrastructure, gender disparity in access, usage, and weak digital capacities and skills. However, in the face of these challenges lies an immense opportunity for potential growth and transformation. The 2022 e-government survey underscores the indispensable role of digital government in fostering inclusive, resilient institutions, particularly in times of crisis. Africa's adoption of emerging technologies and other frontier technologies, including AI, signals a paradigm shift in innovation of its governance, education, and healthcare systems, paving the way for inclusive and innovation-led development. Ladies and gentlemen, UNPOG, UNDESA, has over the years provided capacity support to member states on strengthening public governance and leveraging digital government transformation and technologies. UNPOG, UNDESA will continue to enhance efforts on strengthening our collaboration with APAM and other partners to accelerate progress on the 2030 Agenda and Agenda 2063. I strongly believe today's webinar will provide a unique platform to discuss, share knowledge, and experiences on the concepts, tools, and strategies for promoting digital government transformation. I also hope this will result in tangible outcomes, such as increased interest in the adoption of digital technologies for improved service delivery and informed policy frameworks and initiatives. Collectively, let us embark on this transformational journey towards a digitally empowered and sustainable future for the African continent and beyond. We look forward engaging with you based on the feedback and any further capacity development requests you may have for all follow-up actions. I wish you all a very engaging discussion and a successful webinar. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kim, for an insightful remarks. Moving on, I would like to invite our next speaker in the person of Mr. Joseph Dada Mmi, who is the Deputy President of the African Association of Public Administration Management, that is APAM. He is the Director of the Studies and Head of Computer and Information Management Studies, ASCON, Nigeria. Mr. Dada, you have the floor. Please, we can hear you. We can hear you. Maybe we can hear you. Maybe your microphone is, you might want to disconnect it and reconnect it.
Okay.
We can hear you now. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Ms. Ayan Kim, Head of UN Project Office on Governance, Republic of Korea, distinguished panelists, esteemed guests, noble participants, ladies and gentlemen, good day. On behalf of the APAM Executive Committee, it is with great pleasure and honor that I welcome you all to this very important webinar, which is a collaborative effort between the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, UNDESA, and its Division for Public Administration and Digital Governance, along with the United Nations Project Office on Governance in partnership with the African Association for Public Administration and Management, APAM. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to state that the theme of today's webinar, Digital Government Transformation, Driving the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the African Union Agenda 2063, is not only timely, but very topical within the context of Africa developmental challenges. You will agree with me that the challenges facing the continent are, to say the least, daunting and requires thinking without the box. Thus, this webinar provides a unique platform to discuss critical or salient issues from an African-centric perspective. As we navigate the 21st century, harnessing the power of digital technologies is no longer an option, but a necessity as it enables leveraging digital innovations for the betterment of societies and the advancement of sustainable development goals. Therefore, by embracing digital transformation, African governments can significantly achieve the ambitious goal outlined in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the African Union Agenda 2063. These agendas include, among others, poverty alleviation, healthcare accessibility, quality education, and environmental sustainability. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to state that the partnership between APAM and UNDESA exemplify a beacon of the collaborative spirit, which is indispensable, but also beneficial and essential in addressing the multifaceted challenges confronting governance in today's digital age. This is more so as we navigate through an era of unprecedented change, characterized by rapid technological advancements and an ever-increasing global interconnectedness. In such dynamic and complex landscape, the traditional approaches to governance are being reshaped, necessitating innovative and agile strategies to adapt and thrive. This indeed underscores the need for effective digital governance. It is instructive to state that the digital government transformation is not just about technologies, but more importantly, it is about public governance transformation, which will lead to, among others, effective, accountable, and resilient public institutions, enhance service delivery, and improve citizen engagement. However, achieving digital government transformation requires broad capacity development at the institutional, organizational, and individual levels aim at integrating digital transformation into a country's developmental strategy. Distinguished participants, the digital revolution has brought with it a lot of opportunities, from embracing service delivery and citizen engagement to improving decision-making processes through data-driven insights. However, alongside these opportunities come significant challenges, including cybersecurity threats, data privacy concerns, digital divides, ethical AI use, and the need for effective regulatory frameworks to govern emerging technologies. Together, we must navigate these intricacies to ensure inclusive and sustainable development. Given the objectives and the expected outcomes of the webinar, as highlighted in the concept note, it is APAM's belief that participants will find this webinar rewarding and a most valuable use of their time. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me once again to extend our sincere appreciation to UNIDESA for their invaluable partnership with HAPAM in this transformative program. The collaboration between these esteemed organizations has been instrumental in driving forward initiatives aimed at enhancing governance, leadership, and capacity building across the African continent. UNIDESA has long been a steadfast partner of HAPAM, demonstrating a shared commitment to advancing public administration and management practice in Africa. Their support has been particularly evident in the realm of capacity building program, where collaborative efforts have yielded tangible and impactful outcomes. One notable example is the annual roundtable conference organized by HAPAM, which serves as a flagship event, bringing together public sector leaders, policymakers, academics, and practitioners to engage in meaningful dialogue and knowledge exchange. The support and participation of UNIDESA, UNDESA in these conferences have enriched these discussions, contributed to the dissemination of best practices, and fostered international collaboration on key governance issues. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I encourage each of you to actively engage in today's discussion, drawing from your unique insights, experiences, and expertise. Your contributions are invaluable as we collectively explore the opportunities and challenges presented by the digital transformation in the context of inclusive and sustainable development. Let us share best practices, innovative approaches, and lessons learned, ensuring that our dialogue is enriched by diverse perspectives and paving the way for meaningful collaboration and impactful income. Our distinguished keynote speaker, moderator, presenters, panelists, and participants, while thanking you all for listening to me, I want to wish you all a very rewarding deliberations. On this note, it is also my distinct pleasure to invite the keynote speaker, Professor Oliver Sasa from Zambia. I have the privilege to read his bio. Oliver Sasa is Professor of International Economic Relations and Managing Consultant of Premier Consult Limited in Lusaka, Zambia. Prior to 2000, Professor Sasa served for 12 years as the Director of the Institute of Economic and Social Research at the University of Zambia. A Rhodes Scholar, Professor Sasa researched at the University of Zambia. Professor Sasa obtained his doctorate degree in 1983 from Southampton University in the UK. His PhD thesis was on the control of transnational corporations in developing countries, a comparative analysis of national policy making towards international investment in Tanzania and Zambia. He has served and continues to serve on other financial sector boards at both national and international levels. These have included Zambia National Commercial Bank, ZANACO, Trade and Development Fund, Public Service Pension Fund, Zambia, and the African Economic Research Consortium, AERC. He is also the Chancellor of Mulungushi University in Zambia. He is also the Chairman of Business Coalition Council Emergency Task Force, with over 180 large corporate members in Zambia. Professor Sasa has consulted widely with many governments, international and regional bodies that have included the World Bank, OECD, and many other multilateral and bilateral institutions. He has published widely in the fields of trade, investment, and international economic relations. It is therefore my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome our keynote address speaker, Professor Oliver Sasa. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dada, for such a captivating speech, and also introducing our next our keynote speaker. So without much ado, I'll hand over the mic to Professor Sasa. You have the floor.
Thank you very much for inviting me to share with you my reflections regarding a very important and timely topic, digital government transformation. I think we have to contextualize this. And one of the things that I would like to highlight, and I realize I was told 10 minutes, is firstly, sustainable development goals and the context within which we are seeing digitalization as an integral part of the solution that are expected to address these aspects. I've beamed there the main sustainable development goals, 17 of them, highlighting no poverty, gender equality, good health, climate actions, and partnerships. These are core, because this is really what defines how Africa and the world intends to move. We are also, within this context, talking about the African Union Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. This was a product of a declaration by the heads of state in May 2013 of looking at how best we can move forward as a continent with respect to integrating into a prosperous and peaceful continent where there is dynamism by citizenry. And in terms of actual implementation, several aspects have been highlighted. 7 come out to the fore: a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and development, a continent that's politically integrated, that focuses on enhancement of good governance, and a continent that's peaceful and secure, and where the people, the continent's people, are the main drivers of the change that they want to see. One of the things that we have to understand is that when we talk about digital transformation, especially in the context of the Africa that we want and the sustainable development goal, is that there are a number of issues that we need to take into account, especially with respect to digital transformation. It has to be considered and taken into account that investing in artificial intelligence, for example, across Africa, should be seen as an important investment into the future, because it's really transformational. It allows us to do things more efficiently, and we have to, perhaps without any option, all of us as a continent need to move to those levels. There are 2 aspects of government transformational agenda. There is the e-governance that I would like to highlight to some extent, and then there is the artificial intelligence itself. Let's start with the e-governance. What essentially does e-governance entail? The first aspect, it entails the use of ICT in a manner that enhances the capacity of these governments, the capacity of our government to provide services that are more efficient, that really reach out, especially in the context of improvement in safe delivery. It calls for the restructuring of the delivery services as we understand it now, because technology has allowed us to actually perhaps move more decisively in a manner that will allow us to be a little bit more positive. There are 4 categories of e-governance systems. Globally, there is a government to citizens, how we can improve the interface at those levels. There's governance to business. I would not go into examples that I'm sharing with you. This PowerPoint will be shared later by the organizers. There is also governance to government. Within the government systems, you have layers like local government system, national, and at the international levels, where improvements can be seen, and government to employees, the extent to which safe delivery can be improved upon at those levels. There are a number of benefits, some of which the earlier speakers have highlighted that we need perhaps to recognize. Firstly, in terms of e-governance, there is really appreciation that it leads to good, is good for anti-corruption. Systems that allow the citizenry to trust their government are important because it brings some comfort that what is happening to the extent that is visible it allows them to see things much, much better. And therefore, you see trust, citizens' trust in the government that represents them. It also, in terms of e-governance, improves efficiency of governance services. You take examples where you see speed at which data is processed, use of systems, for example, at the university levels, or even before universities, you can easily check your systems as to how things are performing. Admissions in colleges and universities are now online. You don't need to physically actually visit some of these. Processing of passports, you can name examples, including even licensing of vehicles. All these are good examples that show you that we are doing things more effectively and more efficiently. And in terms of time, there is an enormous amount of saving because of the ICT that has come in. Our ability to have access to government services 24/7 through online access itself is very important. It also actually leads to cost reduction, especially when it comes to, for example, tax payments. Most African economies operate under very tight budgets, and we need to see a system that can reduce significantly the costs that are associated with the service delivery. We are now, even in this meeting, we are actually having a meeting virtually with many countries, perhaps 50 plus. Thanks to COVID somehow, we have now realized that we can meet without physically being together. And this is itself a transformation that we need to recognize. The other aspect that perhaps now more than before, and is still growing in terms of its appreciation, is really artificial intelligence. What exactly is it? In brief, artificial intelligence refers to computer systems that are capable of performing complex tasks that historically only humans could do, such as reasoning, making decisions, and solving problems. They are designed to analyze large amounts of data, and as a result, you see an element of efficiency to the extent that they tend to mimic actually the cognitive functions that until now they were associated with human brains. They create intelligence machines that can perform tasks autonomously, adapt to new situations, and exhibit behaviors that really, to some extent, have actually improved things in terms of efficiencies. Now, there are a number of advantages of artificial intelligence in Africa, and I'm highlighting some of these, and I'm not going to go to the example that I'm giving here. Efficiency in productivity, we see this actually coming out very, very, very openly. Optimization of decision-making, it allows organizations and governments to analyze vast amounts of data quickly and efficiently. And predictive analytics. These models, they focus trends, anticipate customer needs, especially in corporate business, and they identify potential risks and opportunities. All these are good things that actually make life much easier, but also for corporates, more profitable, but for governments, especially in terms of service delivery, being more efficient in delivering to the citizenry. Automation and the robotics also actually give us opportunities in terms of production to revolutionize manufacturing, to revolutionize logistics and the supply chain management, which of course ultimately lead to significant improvements in safe delivery. Enhanced cybersecurity. Yes, we know that artificial intelligence can lead to major challenges. I'll highlight some of these as I conclude. But we have to also understand that there are more efficient ways of, through machine learning, algorithms to detect and mitigate cyber threats in real time, safeguarding sensitive data and protecting organizational assets for malicious actors that usually have characterized up to now the internet and access to ICT innovations. We also are seeing innovative and competitive advantage of AI here in terms of safe delivery, in terms of the services that are provided, the business model that meet evolving customer demands, the ability to actually predict how the market behaves, how the market might respond. The intelligence that comes with the AI really actually gives positive traction at these levels. And cost reduction and resource optimization, all these actually are speaking directly to the value and virtues of artificial intelligence. Supply chain optimization is another one. I would want to go deeper into that, beyond perhaps highlighting that driven supply chain management solutions tend to improve efficiency, tend to reduce costs, and they enhance resilience to disruptions, which of course, even developing countries with limited resources can actually see major benefits arising from these. Fraud detection and risk management is another one. By analyzing transitional data and monitoring behavior in real time, organizations now using AI can mitigate fraud and minimize losses, which is something that is positive. Employee productivity and enhancement, we see powerful tools and applications through AI that leads to effective productivity, effective collaboration and engagement. All this actually speaks directly. There are fears, and we have to understand this. Not everything is good with the artificial intelligence. Not so much that the bad parts of artificial intelligence subtracts the good thing that I've highlighted, but it's important to recognize certain things. The digital divide. The digital divide refers essentially, as we all know, to the disparities among societies in matters relating to ICT. There are different levels, but one of the important things, especially when you are talking about this within the context of Africa, is that Africa at the moment is the tail end of the digital revolution. And to some extent, if it's not well managed, it might in fact actually worsen the digital divide. But the extent to which actually you depend on machine learning itself means that it can allow continents like Africa to leapfrog into levels where we can actually make a difference. And therefore, we see artificial intelligence as perhaps having the potential to close the gap of the digital divide. But perhaps the greatest challenge for Africa is poor internet connectivity. Here, we are talking about how and to what extent do we have the requisite infrastructure, the requisite skills to be able to take advantage of this. There is the issue of security threats. These have been highlighted even earlier. We have to be very, very careful because threats such as interception of data, identity thefts, hacking, copyrights, and fraud are some of the issues users may have actually to be careful about as we migrate into the very exciting world of artificial intelligence. Marginal knowledge of e-governance and internet illiteracy on our continent is a major issue, and we need to perhaps invest, especially at the level of education, in the sort of skills, the skill sets that actually prepare us better for the futuristic opportunities that are actually being brought about by e-governance. And the loss of control is an issue here also. It could surpass human intelligence. They might take over from us, so to speak. So we have to be very careful. These machines, we teach them how to do things. They might in fact actually override our responsibilities and they take over, and then we lose control of what is the expectations. Unemployment and economic disruptions, there is a fear that they might take over opportunities that actually defined how job is defined in Africa and in the whole world. So one has to be careful of the potential of unemployment and the economic disruption that these machines can bring, but it does not subtract from their benefits. It also, in terms of loss of privacy and the autonomy, we talk about privacy of individuals, private of systems, of structures. But to the extent that data becomes so easily accessible and analyzed in huge quantities, one has to be careful that we might see this, the loss of some of our privacy. Security risks also, artificial intelligence, especially general artificial intelligence, could be vulnerable to cyber attacks, manipulation, and misuse by malicious actors. Here again, Africa can be very vulnerable to the extent that we may not have the requisite skills and the infrastructure to actually ensure that we are safe and sound. Unequal access and power imbalances, much of this development of artificial intelligence is still very much Western-centered. Of course, so it is trickling, is almost like the internet to almost all parts of the world. But one has to understand that if you have limited resources as a continent, as individual countries, you may have some challenges at this level. And lastly, capacity limitations are real in many of our African countries. Inadequate human resource skill sets and skill set mix have actually compromised our ability to fully take advantage of the digital sort of revolution that we are seeing. Limited IT literacy among the decision makers in Africa has remained real, and we have to look at how we can equip our governors, our leaders, to make sure that actually take advantage of the revolution that comes with the artificial intelligence. I end here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We thank you very much for such an inspiring keynote address. I know I and other colleagues and everybody joining us today will really appreciate the depth of knowledge you've shared with us, especially on a critical issue on these emerging issues that are very important for our way forward going into the future, not just for now. And I want to use this occasion again to thank all our speakers, keynote speakers for our speakers for the opening remarks as well as the keynote speech. We are very privileged and honored to have you. And I want to say thank you very much again to Ms. Kim, head of UNPOG, Mr. Joseph Dada of APAM, and also to you again, Professor Oliver Sasa. Now I want to also acknowledge the inputs and interactions currently ongoing in our chat box. We appreciate participants' interesting questions and engagement so far. We hope you keep it going or keep it coming. And we also want to thank our speakers who are already addressing some of the questions. In case you have any question, just bring it in there and we'll take note of it and we'll try to address them more as we progress to the next session. It's time for us to have our photo session, and I want to kindly request each one of us to turn on our videos so that our colleagues could kindly capture the screen. So it might take a couple of seconds. So maybe we'll have about 10 seconds. So just turn on your video. I know we all have beautiful and handsome faces we're sharing here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you very much. And congratulations for the first half of our session. And I want to take this opportunity to welcome or to introduce our next moderator for the session. We are privileged to have in our midst Professor John Merikasia. He is currently a professor at the Stellenbosch University, South Africa. He formerly was with UNDESA, and he was the chief of the public service division. And he is currently helping to contribute to the digital transformation and the path being charted by the African region in promoting digital transformation, digital government transformation. Without wasting much time, I have the privilege again to welcome you, Mr. John Kausia. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Let me begin by expressing my gratitude to APAM, UNPOG, and I still call them my colleagues in UNDESA for giving me this opportunity to first of all listen to the great speakers that have just introduced this webinar, and also to moderate the session. We have on the agenda a number of very powerful presenters. I have looked at their bios, and I think if I start reading each of them, then we will finish the time allocated to the webinar before we get them to speak. So let me just mention their names in the interest of time. I have been informed that Honorable Emma Theophilus, who is Deputy Minister of Information and Communication Technology in Namibia, has not been able to join us. She sends her apologies. We accept them. We have missed her input. So we will divide our time among those who are going to speak. And the first one is Dr. Professor Saleh El-Sheikh, who is President, Central Agency for Organization and Administration in Egypt. Good to see you, sir. And thank you for accepting to interact with the audience. The second one will be Mr. Sung Soo Kim, Director General, Minister of the Interior and Safety, Republic of Korea. Thank you, sir, for joining us. And the third one is my colleague, Mr. Vincenzo Aguaro, Chief of Digital Government Branch, DGB, in the Division for Public Institution and Digital Government of UNDESA. Each of them will speak to us for 10 minutes, maybe plus 1 or 2, since Honorable Emma has not been able to join us. And then it is after all of them have spoken that we will open the second discussion, which is a panel discussion. Without further ado, let me invite Dr. Professor Saleh El-Sheikh to make his presentation.
Hi, can you hear me? Prof Kaiser, can you hear me?
So we hear you, yes.
I can hear you very well.
Oh, good. First of all, let me take the opportunity and to thank UNPOG and UNDESA ABAM for organizing such an important topic and webinar. As a matter of fact, digital government transformation is very critical topic for all government currently and also for the citizens. Of course, the Agenda 2063 and Egypt Vision 2030, and of course the UN 2030 vision also including lots of pillars in terms of developing the public services and the public administration generally, like the pillar number 16 for the strong institutions. In Egypt, we started by establishing the legislative requirements for establishing such e-government. To me, first, I have to say that there are 7 important issues when we discuss the issue of digital transformation. First, the legal background. Second, capacity building of the individuals who are dealing with these systems. Third, the infrastructure of the technology and the tools needed for the transformation, computers, connectivity, and the rest. Of course, cultural change in terms of the citizens who are going to deal with these services, the governance of the electronic systems, of course, cost, and the financial side of the transformation is very critical and challenging, especially in to some of the governments. And also the last but not least, we have to take into consideration the risks associated with the digital transformation, not only the cybersecurity, but the rest of the risks that my colleague and friend Oliver Sassa that already shed some lights on. Egypt started in 2017 by establishing what we call the Supreme Council for the Digital Society. And the functions of this Supreme Council for the Digital Society is approving the national strategies to build an integrated digital state, adopting strategic projects, policies, and the procedures that aim to build digital societies, approving policies for providing digital government services, adopting policies aimed at a digital industry capable for attracting investors and creating job opportunities. Of course, verifying the adequacy of financing mechanisms to provide the necessary budget for digital transformation projects. Egypt has so many strategies in terms of the ICT, National ICT Strategy, Digital Egypt Vision of offshoring services, National Strategy for Cybersecurity, National Cloud Computing Strategy, National AI Strategy, and National Free and Open Source Software Strategy. Of course, these strategies, it's livable documents. They are subject to change over the time based on the changing circumstances. Egypt also in May 2022 launched the Digital Egypt portal. We believe in Egypt that distancing between the service provider, which is the public employees, and the recipients of the public services, which are the citizens, distancing between both will curb the corruption, will provide more governance in terms of the public administration and public service delivery. The Egyptian government launched the Digital Egypt portal in May 2022. Currently, we have 170 services available completely online. 8 million citizens has been registered so far, and 45 transactions were completed on the portal until last week. We have so many channels of service delivery. We have the post offices, we have the mobile post offices, we have mobile technological centers, and also we have the service centers at different governorates and at the municipalities. We have almost 5,000 of these service centers available in every single municipality in the country, just to make the life of the citizens easier. Also, in terms of the learning and innovation, the Egyptian government has trained 400,000 trainees in development of the IT sector, just like the program development and cybersecurity in different kind of topics related to the digital transformation. Allocated $100 million for the capacity building. Already established Egypt University of Informatics. And currently we have lots of departments for informatics and IT in different universities. We have 20 digital innovative centers around the country. Also, we established the technology business incubators just to encourage the SMEs. We have the ITI. I considered as Egyptian citizens and one of the strongest institutions in the region in terms of the building the capacity of the ICT specialists. We have data centers and the government. We have also cloud computing, national data center, and the DR. Also, we organizing several hackathons in terms of different mega projects for the youth. As you know, 80% of the Egyptian of Egypt population is under 40. So we have a very youthful society. Also, in terms of CAWA, if I just go from the macro level to the micro level, in CAWA we have so many projects related to the transformation and so many initiatives, just like we have internal electronic system, Currently, we are working 1 day from home at CAWA, which is Tuesday, because we work in Egypt on from Sunday until Thursday. So we are break in the middle of the week, and we are taking Tuesday as work from home. We have also the human resource information system. This is facilitate the life of the public employees. They can see everything related to their work online. We have also so many databases, and these databases are not silos, but they are connected. We have civil service e-profile. We have a civil servants e-profile. We have e-profile for every single public employees in Egypt. We have millions of public employees in Egypt, as you might know. Also, we have the e-training portal, the learning management system. Every single civil servant has an account on this LMS, and they can get the training they need already online. Believe it or not, this is equal opportunity implementation of this principle, because now all the public employees have the right to access this portal and take the training they need. Also, we have the government job portal. Dr. Kauza, you remember that we already applied for the Innovation Award of Africa, and this project has won the second prize, the silver one, in 2023 in Zambia. So we have this job portal, all the job available in the government, and announced it as vacant. It already announced it through the government job e-portal. Also, we have the Capacity Assessment and Competition Center. This center that works as the tool for all the examination for the entry level of the government employee. We have the promotion portal also to facilitate the life of the public employees. We have training center accreditation portal. You know, the private centers that provide training and capacity building services for the government should be accredited by CAWA. So we have e-portal for that, and they get their licensing through online. Also, we have lots of experts, consultant, trainers portal. They can also apply online. One of the I don't want to take so long, but of course through the open discussion we can answer lots of questions, but I'm trying to lightly shed some light on what we are doing in CAWA. Last but not least, we have the government chatbot Kemet. Kemet, this is the name of Egypt during the Pharaoh's era, when Egypt used to be one of the countries that spill over its civilization to all over the world. And as a matter of fact, so Kemet, this is a chatbot. It can answer all the questions raised by the citizens and the public employees. We have a video for 2 minutes. I would appreciate if you can, my colleague, that they can, you know, show it to us. Julie?
Yes, it's been shared soon. Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. Also, of course, we are putting all what we already have done because we have lots of potentials for the cooperation. So we are willing to cooperate with any organization and any country in terms of building the capacity of what we have done for the digital transformation. Now I let you just take some time with Kim.
أنا كيميت، أستمد اسمي من الحضارة المصرية الممتدة في جذور التاريخ. أرمز إلى تربة مصر الخصبة وطمي نيلها. وأمثل محاولة حكومية جادة لاستخدام تقنيات الذكاء الاصطناعي في تقديم الخدمات العامة في مصر. وما بين الماضي والحاضر، يبقى التنظيم والإدارة سمة من سمات المجتمع المصري على مر الزمان. واليوم أتحدث إليكم كأول مساعدة ذكية تلتحق بالعمل بالجهاز الإداري للدولة. أتلقى استفساراتكم وأستقبل طلباتكم على مدار الساعة دون توقف، وأقوم بالرد كتابة وشفاهة. أبدأ معكم وأقول إن الجهاز المركزي للتنظيم والإدارة في مسيرته منذ أكثر من 70 عاماً حرص على تطوير خدماته في إطار مهامه وفقاً للاختصاصات التي ينظمها قانونه، ومن بينها تطوير نظم الخدمة المدنية، وإعادة النظر في الهياكل التنظيمية، واقتراح القوانين واللوائح الخاصة بالعاملين، وإبداء الرأي في مشروعات القوانين المتعلقة بشؤونهم، ودراسة الاحتياجات من العاملين في مختلف المهن والتخصصات بالاشتراك مع الجهات المختصة، وإدارة بوابة الوظائف الحكومية والمسابقات المركزية، بالإضافة إلى رسم سياسة وخطط تدريب العاملين ورفع مستوى كفاءتهم، ودراسة الموازنات المالية، فضلاً عن التأكد من قيام الجهات الإدارية بمسؤولياتها. أناكيميت نتاج تعاون مشترك بين الجهاز المركزي للتنظيم والإدارة والوكالة الأمريكية للتنمية الدولية USAID، وتم تطويري من خلال شركة وطنية أسسها شباب رواد الأعمال، وهي متخصصة في تطوير تقنيات الذكاء الاصطناعي. أدعوكم للتعرف علي والتواصل معي، ويسعدني أن أخبركم أنه قد تم تصميمي لأكون قادرة على التطور في المستقبل، وذلك بإضافة خدمات حكومية أخرى في كافة الجهات الإدارية بالدولة، وليس فقط الجهاز المركزي للتنظيم والإدارة. سوف أقدم خدماتي من خلال الموقع الإلكتروني للجهاز المركزي للتنظيم والإدارة، وصفحته الرسمية على موقعي التواصل الاجتماعي الفيسبوك والواتساب. وفي النهاية، أشكركم لإعطائي الفرصة لخدمتكم، وأرجو أن تنال خدماتي رضاكم، فهو المقصد والهدف.
Thank you so much. And to conclude that the Egyptian government moved to the new capital. And the new capital, this is a smart city. We are working over there paperless, So I would appreciate if you can just take the opportunity, dedicate some time to learn more about this case. This is very successful experience in terms of moving the whole government from old traditional kind of environment to a digitalized one. I'm inviting whoever wants to come and visit us and to see it themselves. You are more than welcome to do so. Thank you so much for listening, and I wish all the best to everybody of our esteemed participants and noble panelists. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ershik, for that interesting presentation. I have to say that sometimes we do very good things without specifically saying what they are. And this is directed to APAM and UNPOG and UNDESA. I hope you realize that in organizing this webinar, you are actually implementing Sustainable Development Goal number 17. It is about partnerships. And concerning the presentation we have just heard from Dr. Ershik, and linking it with what Professor Sasa had just said about the seriousness of the digital divide, I hope Africans can know that, in fact, one way of closing this digital divide is to learn from one another. Egypt is not far from many African countries, and I know how advanced in digital transformation Egypt is. And so sharing with them is one of the quickest way of bridging the serious digital divide. So thank you very much for sharing. Now I will invite Mr. Sun Soo Kim with Director General, Minister of Interior and Safety, Republic of Korea, to make his presentation. Thank you very much for sparing time from your busy schedule to come and join us and talk to us. Thank you very much. Welcome.
Okay, thank you so much for the introduction. It's my honor and pleasure to introduce South Korea's digital government transformation. In my presentation today, I'll provide you with a brief overview of Korea's digital government, followed by its success factors. In addition, I would like to talk about how we are going to use AI for the public service in Korea and what should be considered along the way. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, let me start with numbers. In Korea, more than 90% of the adult population use digital government services. And internationally, Korea ranked top 3 for 7 times in a row since 2010 UN e-government survey. And most recently, Korea ranked first in both the Digital Government Index and the Open Data Index of OECD in 2023. Next slide, please. Well, it has been more than 50 years since the beginning of digital government in Korea. We started our journey in 1967 with the project of computer-based population census statistics. The enactment of E-Government Act in 2001 was the most important moment in our timeline. 11 e-government key projects were initiated right after the enactment, followed by the e-government roadmap with 31 additional projects. The Korean government has continuously updated its digital government strategies and improved its online services. As you can see in the slide, we are currently working on the Digital Platform Government Initiative, and I will explain more about it later. Next slide, please. Well, this slide shows the summary of what Korean government did to develop the digital government. The first thing we did was creating administration databases by digitizing paper documents. The second thing was developing systems for government organizations and government employees, such as electronic document system and budget system, etc. And then we started to develop online services for citizens and businesses. And then the next step was integrating IT infrastructures and platforms. The government data center shared by all government ministries is the most famous and important example. Integration of services and datasets was the next step. We developed a single window for citizens and a data sharing platform for all government entities. Currently, we are trying to enhance usability, accessibility, and security of our all digital services. And furthermore, fostering collaboration between the private sector and the public sector has become one of our top political priority recently. Next slide, please. These are the public organizations in charge of digital government development and operation in Korea. The Presidential Committee for Digital Platform Government provides strategic directions and oversees related policies and projects. The Ministry of the Interior and Safety, MOIS in short, is responsible for the implementation and management of digital government as a whole. MOIS provides common components, shared services, and integrated infrastructure for all government entities. Other ministries manage services and systems in their respective areas, following the principles and standards established by MOIS. 3 expert agencies support MOIS and other ministries along the way: National Information Society Agency, and Internet and Security Agency, and Local Information Research and Development Institute. Next slide, please. Now, this slide presents an overview of major digital government services in Korea. Of course, we have many more services, but these are most important and most famous services. The most significant point of this slide is that all the ministries in Korea share infrastructure such as servers, storage, and networks in the government data center operated by MOIS. Furthermore, other ministries use the same systems for common services such as digital document management, budget accounting, and human resource management. This helps a lot to collaborate among government agencies and implement government as a whole. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, Korea's current vision of digital government transformation is digital platform government. The Digital Platform Government Committee announced the Digital Platform Government Implementation Plan in April 2023. The plan categorized core tasks in 4 areas: government dedicated to its citizen, intelligent government working as a whole, public-private partnership for mutual growth, and a secure and reliable platform government. It's worth to notice that this plan specified information protection and cybersecurity as a separate task area. Because ensuring security and protecting digital rights are essential to earn the trust of a citizen and policy momentum. Next slide, please. In this slide, I would like to give you my opinion about the key success factors of Korea's digital government transformation. Strong political will and leadership has been the most fundamental factor of our success. And there are 3 factors based on it. First, we could regulate laws and regulations on time because of the strong will and leadership. And the strong rule of law in Korea make the government establish, update, and implement visionary plans. Implementation is the most important part because everybody can make a good plans, but it's really hard to implement actual project and services according to the plan. And the second, the good governance could be established in the early stage, and we could adopt the whole government approach from the beginning. As a result, hardware, software, data, and services could be integrated and shared among the government entities, and we could implement very efficient digital government. Third, the Korean government could invest a huge amount of budget on digital transformation. Nationwide internet connectivity was established in early 2000, and the rapid proliferation of IT equipment has made it impossible to work without digital technologies in early 2000 as well. In addition, I would like to mention a cultural success factor as well. Korean people have a very strong aspiration for education, which led to high level of digital literacy in a very short period of time. The high demand and usage level of citizens has given more momentum to the digital government transformation in Korea. I think we have some kind of special consensus that digital transformation is inevitable and necessary in Korea. Next slide, please. So before finishing my presentation, I would like to share Korea's AI use cases for digital government. All the cases are already implemented or in the way of implementation. AI will save the time of government employees by helping their time-consuming tasks, such as taking minutes of meeting, monitoring, and alerting unusual events like using CCTVs, and writing formal documents. And it can also help phenomena predictions and decision-makings based on a large amount of data. Recently, MOIS developed an AI model to detect voice phishing, and it is actually used in the field to cope with crimes. AI can also play an important role in providing accessible service for everyone. Devices that can communicate with the people in natural language could be a breakthrough for digitally vulnerable social groups. Moreover, there could be new services which did not exist before. For example, the Korean government uses AI to cope with cyber threats. Next slide, please. Of course, there are many things to consider in the way of AI adoption. The Korean government announced the national guidelines for AI ethics. We have 3 main goals: respect for human dignity, common good of society, and proper use of technology. The guideline provides self-checklists for each type of AI solutions, for example, for chatbot and for the monitoring CCTV and for decision-making. And there are also derivative guidelines for specific policy areas as well. So this is all I have today. Thank you for listening, and it's my honor to speak in front of this really honored guest. Thank you so much.
Please, your microphone.
Thank you very much. I was saying that the honor is ours to listen to you and to this fascinating expose on digital transformation in Korea. For those of us who are on the other side of the digital divide, I think the word fascinating doesn't even convey the message. I didn't know that you started all the way back in 1960s. So those who started in the years of 2000 should understand that if someone started in 1960 running and you start following in 2000, automatically you remain behind. So we shouldn't actually over-complain. We should try our best to run as fast as we can, but we need to understand that we started late. I'm talking about Africans. From what Mr. Sun Soo has just said, we really started late. And it is great to be able to share with those who started long ago. So thank you very much. Now I have got the pleasure and the honor to invite my colleague, Mr. Vincenzo Aquaro, who is the Chief of the Digital Government Branch in the Division for Public Institutions and Digital Government in UNDESA. Vincenzo, first of all, I'm very happy to see you after a long time, even if it is virtual. So please, you are welcome.
Thank you very much, and the honor and the pleasure is mine. And but John, we met in SEPA. No, it was not in SEPA. I was in a workshop a few weeks ago, so we also had the pleasure to meet in person. Okay, I will also start now my presentation, and I found very interesting the first part of this very important workshop. Also, the presentation from Egypt, that is one of the leading countries in Africa, and of course, one of the front runner in the world, that is the Republic of Korea. My presentation, I will give some overall trends and at the global and regional level, zooming more on Africa. And I will address some issues that were already somehow introduced by the previous speakers. Next slides, please. I will use our flagship report, that is United Nations E-Government Survey. I think all of you knows now this report is the only report in the world that assess all United Nations member states on digital government development. And we started also in a long time ago in 2001. The available edition now is the 2022. We are almost ready to publish the 2024. Still, there is an embargo. We are going to present this during the General Assembly in September, but some general trends can be indeed shared today. Next slide, please. Just a quick reminder of the methodology that is behind this report. because the report is based on a quantitative composite index called the E-Government Development Index, or EGDI, and we will use EGDI as a proxy to measure some trends, to look at digital divide, and also to look at some performances. One important thing to highlight is that the EGDI is organized in 4 main subgroups. That is a very high EGDI, high, middle, and low EGDI. Further divided in 12 different rating classes. You can see there. Countries with the same rating class are very comparable in terms of digital development. This is also to try to provide a measurement that will address the differences among the countries on digital government. Okay, next slide, please. Let's start with the global trends. The last survey that was launched in September 2022 offers new evidence on how technology is transforming the way government operate, shifting from the traditional technocratic approach to a more integrated digital agenda that is policy-oriented, people-centric, and data-driven. It illustrates also how e-government has expanded and evolved from a silos approach to all of government and all of society's approaches. And some concrete examples has been already shown by my previous speakers. So if we're using the EGDI as proxy for digital transformation, we can say that globally more than 2/3 of the countries are now in the high or very high EGDI groups. So this is a good news, showing an improvement from 2020 with the transitioning of many countries to a more advanced digital government ecosystem. I can also anticipate that this trend has been confirmed also for 2024. So we are facing this positive development. Next slide, please. At the regional level, this is important to see the differences among these the 5 regions. We have Europe that continue to remain for the 12th time the leader region, followed by Asia, the Americas, so North and Latin, Central and Latin America, Oceania, and on the bottom, Africa. Overall is the one with the red color. Overall, the upward trend is encouraging, but the global average EGDI value raised slightly in 2022 and less than our expectation. This is something that we noticed. There was a strong momentum due to the COVID situation, but the reality is while we have observed widespread reliance on digital technology for service delivery during COVID-19, digital transformation in 2022 had not yet materialized in a more homogeneous and comprehensive manner, especially for developing countries. That was observed in 2022. I can anticipate that this trend has been changed, and for the 2024 we will have a better improvement. Next slide, please. This is just to show you the top leading countries in the world with the highest rating classes for that is for the 2022. I will not read the countries, but I want you to notice that we have countries from Europe, we have countries from Asia, we have Americas, the US, and also we have 2 from Oceania, this New Zealand, Australia. Unfortunately, no countries from Africa is in the top leading countries in the world. This is something that also need to be considered in terms also of opportunity for the future for improvement. Next slide, please. Now we zoom on Africa. Zooming at regional level, while we observe for the largest share of positive change in AGDI for 15 countries in Africa, the regional AGDI average is still the lowest and below the global average that was visible in the previous slides. None of the African countries are in very high AGDI. 16 are in the high AGDI groups, 32 in the middle one, and 6 in the lowest AGDI group. But it is worthy to notice that most of the countries in low AGDI group are from Africa. Still, there are a good example of digital transformation. South Africa, Mauritius, Seychelles, for example, are in the top regional leaders for 2022. But Rwanda, Cote d'Ivoire, Zambia moved from middle to high AGDI group. And also Guinea-Bissau moved from low to middle AGDI. But still, we have 6 countries, Niger, Chad, Eritrea, Central Africa Republic, Somalia, South Sudan, that are really on the bottom, on the low AGDI group. Next slide, please. So let's talk about digital divide. The global, the regional, and the local trends have clearly shown that despite investment in technology and the deployment gains achieved in many countries, the digital divide persists. Ongoing challenges continue to undermine the development efforts of countries in special situations, especially the least developing countries. In UN Secretary General report, Our Common Agenda, the Secretary General said that digitalization is a global public good that should benefit everyone, everywhere. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development should remain the government blueprint for building a healthier and more resilient, inclusive ecosystem. But as highlighted by the Secretary General, digital divide is now the new phase of inequality among and within the countries, and governments, private sector, civil society, all the stakeholders need to act to advance the betterment of human lives. Next slide, please. Using the, now again, the world average AGDI value as a proxy for measuring digital divide, the 2022 survey indicates that about 45% of the combined population in the world, and we are talking about 3.5 billion people, still lag behind. This map in this slide illustrates which countries and which regions of the world are most vulnerable within the context. In Africa, we have 95% of the population lags behind. Only 4 of the region's 54 countries, so South Africa, Mauritius, Seychelles, and Tunisia, have AGDI value above the world average. And the very high AGDI group includes none of the countries in Africa. The path to digital inclusion and sustainable development remains fraught with obstacles and uncertainties, especially in this region. Next slide, please. And if we're looking at our historical AGDI data, as the situation, as for now, even the most optimistic projection, so I did 10 years projection of future development trends in Africa, will not be sufficient to bridge the gap with the other regions within the next 10 years. You can see the red arrows, highlighting the urgency for accelerated efforts and innovative solutions to address the digital disparity. And the advancement of artificial intelligence is expected to widen the gap among countries in the near future, underscoring the critical need for strategic investment and capacity building initiative to ensure Africans' meaningful participation also in the AI-driven global economy. In conclusion, next slide, please. The challenges of the digital divide in Africa stem from limited access to technology, internet connectivity, digital skills, to mention some. Bridging this gap in the next 10 years will require significant investment in infrastructure, affordability, and digital literacy programs to ensure equitable access and participation in the digital economy. However, disparities in fundings, education, and regulatory obstacles may hinder efforts to close the divide within this time frame. Now, it is time to act swiftly and decisively to accelerate digital transformation in Africa, fostering a more inclusive and just world where every individual has the opportunity to thrive in the digital age. The urgency of the situation calls for collective action and innovative solutions to ensure that Africa can harness the power of technology for sustainable development and equitable growth. A pivotal continental level strategy titled the African Union Digital Transformation Strategy 2020-2030 has been designed by the African Union to unleash the transformative power of digital technologies. This strategy, with the overarching aims, is to propel economic growth, foster social inclusion, and realize sustainable development throughout Africa. Envisioned an integrated and inclusive digital society and economy in Africa, and is aligned with the Agenda 2063. Therefore, an unprecedented digital compact is crucial to support the African region in implementing this continental strategy, bridging the digital divide, emphasizing collaboration among all stakeholders, government, businesses, international organizations, civil society, private sector, to ensure sustainable progress and inclusive digital development. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Vincenzo, for that eye-opening and awakening presentation. As they say, the figures don't lie, and definitely yours are not lying. It's a lot to learn. I sincerely hope that African technicians and policymakers, especially in this regard, take advantage of the enormous resource that is the UN e-government survey, because I'm yet to land on a single book that gives an entire picture of the world on a specific topic in a few pages. It's really wonderful, the work that you do and what it is exposing. It's a great resource. Thank you very much. Now, according to what I have as the agenda, we should move into session 2, which is a panel discussion. And this involves all the speakers. And it is entitled Challenges, Opportunities, Strategies, and Policy Recommendations for Driving Digital Government Transformation in Africa. This will be a discussion involving all the speakers that we have had. Unfortunately, as I indicated, Honorable Emma Theophilus isn't available. And then there will be questions and answers discussion. There will be a session on that. Now, this is the harder bit to facilitate, to moderate, but I think all the speakers have listened to each other. We have had a sizable amount of information, and both conceptually and in reality, we have a picture of what has been going on and what is going on and the status of digital transformation literally in the world. So in this session, I invite the speakers to come in and contribute on this issue of challenges, opportunities, strategies, and policy recommendations for driving digital government transformation in Africa. I think the policy recommendations are very important if we can, as we speak, focus on that. With that, I invite the speakers. I think if I was going to say, let the speaker who wants to speak first put up their hand, but I think I prefer to be a little bit dictatorial and point out because we have had very, very powerful speakers. I think each of them should intervene on this issue of challenges and policy recommendations. And if I give them the choice, they may not intervene. So in that sense, I would want to request Professor Olive Sasa, if he's still around, because now the pictures are not showing me who is and who is not around, to give us.
Prof, I guess he's left already.
He left?
I guess he already left.
He couldn't stand my dictatorship.
As usual, right?
Okay, he didn't give me a chance to be even a Democrat. So in that case, then I would want to request Dr. Ershik to just a brief intervention on these issues of challenges and especially policy recommendations.
You know, I to the best of my knowledge, and based on our experience, Prof, that one of the most challenging issues is financing the transformation. Digital transformation is not an easy task. It's not one step, one process. It's kind of continuous. So it needs lots of patience. For instance, when we started to transform CAWA to a digital form, we found almost 20 million pages. 20 million pages. So to put this into a digitalized format for the electronic system, it took so many times to do so. So it needs lots of patience. Of course, it needs political will. It needs lots of support, and it needs money. One of the most challenging issue is financing the transformation. It's very critical to take that into consideration. Also, one of the disappointing, let me say that way. One of the most disappointing issue in terms of the digitalization and the transformation of e-government to e-government is not being recognized by the international community, not being recognized what you are doing by the firms, the international agencies who are working in the ranking, and whatever you are doing, you will find yourself not at the top rank. So I would appreciate if those international agencies who are responsible for the ranking of the efforts to get in touch with the government officials, with the people who are responsible for the efforts, and to get all the documents they are needed in terms of the ranking and indices. And in that regard, we are willing to give whatever material that we are having to those international agencies. So the rank is going to be, you know, a little bit encouraging to the efforts of the transformation and digitalization. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think financing is a real issue, but I have to intervene on this issue of financing. Normally, when I'm talking to government officials in terms of strategy, I always tell them that when someone tells you, I don't have money, what that means is, I don't have money for that. They don't say, I don't have money for that, they say, I don't have money. But in reality, that means I don't have money for that. And in practice, what that means is that that's not my priority on my budget. So without belittling the reality that finance is an issue, I think there is room also to ask, when you look at the budget of countries, is digital transformation high on the list of priorities to attract the digital finances that are available? So we can say we don't have money for digital transformation. What that means is, for us, it's not high on priority list. But that's my thinking. Thank you very much for that contribution. Now, I would want to invite Mr. Sun Soo Kim, especially in your position being at the helm of spearheading the whole thing in Korea. I think your comments on challenges and policy recommendations would be valuable to us. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak. It's my personal opinion, but Africa is a very young continent. So you have so many young generations of people, and they will be the great power for the future development and future progress, I think, because they can learn very fast about the technologies, I think, if they have a right opportunity. And the digital literacy is the key to improve not only about the digital government, it's about building a digital society. The digital government is a part of the society, which requires connectivity and the digital literacy as a fundamental factor of the digitalization and digital transformation. So when we started our digital transformation in early 2000 and the late 1990s, at that time, the wireless connection was not popular at the time. So in these days, we have wireless connections which can be established very easily compared to the hybrid network, which requires so many infrastructures and a lot of investment. So relatively, you can build network infrastructure with relatively small amount of budget. And also, you can have wireless devices which can be very affordable compared to the computers in the past. So it is much easier to make a successful transformation these days. So you already mentioned that you started late, but it's not this advantage. It's actually, it could be a kind of advantage because we won't have kind of legacy systems and legacy infrastructures which can delay your further progress with the AI. So you can use the brand new technologies from the start, and you can start with the young people, and you can build a brand new and kind of leading solutions technologies for the Africa. It's kind of new opportunity. Like you said before, as long as you have kind of political priority to invest enough amounts of budget in digital transformation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I like that advice, especially the last bit. because I think one of the unfortunate things in Africa is that we keep on lamenting that we are late. I think that is an impediment in our advancement, because I think what matters is really not where we are coming from, but it is where we are and where we want to go. And we can't keep on saying we are late. So what? That ended. I think that's a valuable advice, really, to start from where we are and move from where we want to go. And that might determine the speed at which we move. Thank you very much. Now let's go back to Vincenzo. You are on these issues of challenges and policies.
Thank you, John. And I really agreed with my panelist fellow from Korea said about also the great opportunities we have now with the new technology. So I do believe coming back on what also you said, John, when you said, oh, we started late. That's true, but is not an obstacle. But what the big difference is when you start earlier is the possibility to change the mindset and also to really at all levels, so political level, but also at a lower level until on citizens. So this is very important. The mindset and the political will is extremely important, because as you said, especially now, and if you look at all the possibility to get funds, to get loan, to have your own budget. So still is always, you know, the financing aspect is always a challenge, but as you said, clearly, it's a matter of choices. You need to understand that now digital transformation is not just about the digitalization and purchases of technologies, but is more on transforming globally and all the society and provide more opportunity for all the sectors of your economy and for sustainable development. So this is one important point. The second part as maybe policy recommendation, and now when we talk about digital transformation, and also when we talk about how to bridge digital divide, we should think more of as a collective effort. I think the big advantages that the African region has is that there is opportunity to work more as a whole. Through all the countries should collaborate more, and some solution can be easily shared. Some infrastructure can be easily shared. If you see when you look at the other regions and or in the sub-regions, as soon as you have a group of countries that work more closely together, these are the countries that are improving the most in the digital transformation. Why? Because they share experience, they share resources, they share skills. So this is something that need to be taken in consideration. And the last point also was already mentioned, but I think it's very important, the young generations. The young generation and the countries that have more, that are younger in terms of population, they will have more opportunities if you give the opportunity to your new generation to work more on this aspect. So digital literacy, STEMs, opportunity for giving the opportunity for the young people to do experience abroad, but then to come back. And these are some of the points that I wanted to highlight. But of course, there are many others. So I am I'm open to get other questions from you. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Vincenzo, for that. I wanted to supplement the concern of Dr. Elshik. You remember what he said about among the challenges, he talked about not being recognized. Of course, Vincenzo, having been your colleague since the e-government survey was established and having worked with UNIT, I'm aware of the methodologies that it goes through and the hardships it involves to produce such a comprehensive report for 193 countries. But I think Dr. Elshik was being modest. He actually wanted to ask you, how do you arrive at these rankings and leave out Egypt? I think the question could have been summarized as simple as that. Did you want to make a comment on the way these rankings are arrived at?
Yes, I didn't want to say before. Was waiting you to but I really appreciate what he said, and we're always open and to listen and to get criticism and also to get recommendation and suggestion for the improvement. So from this point of view, we are always in contact with the member states, all member states, and also Egypt is one of the countries that provide the information that normally we ask. We have this member state questionnaire that we send to the government and is replied back. I have also to say that, as I said, I cannot anticipate to 2024, but even in 2022, Egypt is one of the countries that have been progress a lot. But all the indicators that we measure are public, are in the report. So the government is aware about that. And we try to also share in advance the new changes in the methodology in order to be able to capture as much as possible. But I fully agree also that for many countries now, the ranking, it's something that is an opportunity for okay, let me say in the reverse way. I will give you other countries that were not very happy about the ranking because they lost positions in the past. They came to me and they were thanking me because they said that they got much more funds and to improve the system because of this ranking situation. So at the end, they said, I know we were, there was a lot of complaint from our side, but after we went through the report, we look at all the data, we analyze and we look all the recommendation that you provided. That was also an opportunity for us to get more funds in for digital transformation. So as you said before, John, before they were in a higher position, they said, okay, we are doing well. They decided to move the funds from digital transformation to other priorities, and then they lost positions. Again, the Korean experience shows that it's an ongoing process. You cannot decide, okay, I have done, I stop, and I do other things. You have always to invest, and you have always to work on digital transformation. This is something that the government need to take in consideration. It's not just a one-shot stop, one shot and then move to other things. But we are always open also to get recommendations, suggestions, and criticism from the government, from the academia, and that's the way we improve the quality of our report. That, as you said, covering 193 countries is not an easy job, and sometimes, I used to say we scratch the surface. We have also other tools And a workshop like this is also an opportunity to go more in depth on some points and make some more in-depth analysis about the digital development in one country or in one region or in a group of countries. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that. I think it is important that people know the dynamics and the methodologies and the challenges involved in producing that e-government report. But most importantly, I have been campaigning for that report because I find it a very strong resource, and I'm not even an e-government person. I'm completely innocent of e-government. But I find that report very, very enlightening in the matter. And in a simple...
Sorry, John, I interrupt you only to say that you are very humble, but you were also one of the authors of a very important chapter in the past in the report. So don't say that you are you are also a great expert.
Thank you. Now, thank you very much for this contribution in the panel discussion. But I think it is time that we bring our audience, the participants on board. I think some of them might want to ask questions. Actually, some of them have already asked questions. I'm looking at the question and answer box here. There are 24 questions. I don't know how I will approach this. Which question to answer and which question not to answer. Maybe before I look at the ones that are written, I can invite the participants, those who have burning questions that are not written down, to put up their hands and very quickly ask a question or even contribute. It's not always about question. It can be a contribution or a comment. So this is the time when we do that, and then we will also look at the questions that are written in the chat, and see whether we can contribute answering them. I'm seeing a hand of Mr. Joseph Dada. Yes, please. In 2 minutes. You can hear me, Mr. Dada? Any other hand? Because I can see he's muted. Suleiman?
Thank you.
As we wait for Dada.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Congratulations for the very nice informative topic. You all became more awareness. My concern regarding is the UN and UNDESA can initiate a new policy that to warn the governments when they fund them and they move the budget. Mainly during COVID-19, countries has to stick to UN fund for this same line. And before they send you their justification, UN need a third eye to observe. Thank you.
Let me see whether we got this clear. You are suggesting that the UNDESA could have a way of alerting government about the shift in budgets and how they can jeopardize digital transformation. I think it is a worthwhile comment. Vincenzo, do you have a comment on that?
Well, I think you know that as you know, DESA also has a division on financing for development, and there are many initiatives also on this aspect. From our side, we do our best with the resources that we have. Have to also acknowledge my colleague from UNPOG in Korea that are really working very hard on capacity development aspect, not only in Asia, but really now worldwide and in Africa. And maybe my colleagues from UNPOG can also say more about that. Again, we also have a workshop on changing the mindset to try to really act at the highest level, at the political level, because the political will is extremely important and fundamental for that. Indeed, also the UN system as a whole is working more to also harmonize the opportunities to be more comprehensive also in the way the use of the funds, the use of aids, the use of the available budget from our side. There are a lot of initiatives now. I want to also highlight that in September, the Summit of the Future will be also a great opportunity, and there is a big initiative linked with the Global Digital Compact. Also, I need to acknowledge the agencies of UNDP, ITU, with this big initiative that is Digital Public Infrastructure, DPI. They want to fund more about 100 countries on new technologies for infrastructures, and Africa is one of the recipient for that. So there are a lot of initiatives on this, but we can also do more. On the other hand, as you know, John, we are suffering a strong cut of funds from our side. And this is because member states are also reducing the funds or delaying their contribution to UN. This is unfortunately a challenge for us because, for example, in my case, I have frozen budget. I cannot even hire people for that because there is no availability of cash flow. So this has also some obstacle from our side to really improve the quality of our services and try to cover as much as possible. Back to you. I hope I answer. I went through many directions.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But just to supplement, I think when we are talking to governments need to understand that these things are tools. You cannot say you want a big banana plantation, but you don't want hose, or you don't want tractors. No, the two go together. If you want a big banana plantation, you must have the hose. You want dig. Now, some governments seem to think that it is a choice between digital government and education, or digital government and health. No, digital government is the tool to do those things. You cannot choose between the two. Dr. Dada, I had tried to give you the floor.
Thank you very much, Prof. Sorry, it's part of the low side of digital transformation I'm struggling with here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Quickly, I have just two things. One is actually to ask the chief of digital government in UNIDESA if from the capacity building aspect from the branch, are there things they can do for MDIs in Africa to assist them in building capacity of the public service in this area? That is one. Secondly, in terms of infrastructure, which everybody agrees is key, there is that dimension of prioritizing what needs to be done. And for Africa, the issue of survival before technology becomes paramount. So when we say Africa is not prioritizing, digitalization or digital transformation, how do we balance the need to make them provide the basic necessities for the citizens as against digitalization? Thank you so much for those for your time.
Okay. I think you have brought the argument I was talking about, choosing between digital and services. So if I can start by contributing before I request Vincenzo and others to come in. For me, in many cases, that is posing the problematic in a way that can't solve it. In other words, you can say we cannot pay attention to digital transformation because we have to pay attention to the provision of health services. Suppose you said, we understand that digital transformation will facilitate our provision of health services, therefore we are going to prioritize it. You cannot say that we are not going to pay attention to digital transformation because we want to provide primary education to all our children. But you could also say digital transformation will assist us in providing primary education to all children, therefore we are going to prioritize it. You see, so it's again a question of finding the right mix between these two, the tool and the service to provide. And in most cases, from a purely policy analytical point of view, in many African governments, this analysis to reach at a level where you say, we have a problem, our kids are not going to school, but we understand there is a tool called digital government or e-government, and it can help us to take all kids to education. If you reach that point, then you are halfway toward solving the problem. But the panelists are here, they can contribute to that answer.
Hello. Yes, John, thank you very much. I just want to draw your attention to the fact that we have exceeded our time a lot. So there are several questions coming. We are going to collect all of them and send it in the follow-up email to our speakers. And that's that we plead with our speakers to still respond to them. We have a lot of questions and we might not be able to answer all of them. So our participants and speakers should bear with us. So maybe you can wrap up so that we'll continue the engagements from here. Yeah. So over to you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think that's a polite way of saying stop. I've been waiting for that message. Now I have got it. I think we can now go into the stop mode and look at what we have on the agenda, which is now going into closing remarks. And we had not had, according to what I have on closing remarks, we have Professor George Scott, the Secretary General of the African Association for Public Administration and Management. And so I will give him the floor to give us his closing remarks. Then we can complete a session.
Thank you very much, Professor Kauzia. I believe we have suddenly come to the end of a very enlightening webinar on digital government transformation. I also personally believe that despite lagging behind, I'm filled with optimism and renewed energy from this discussion for the future of Africa's development. The discussions have underscored the critical role that digital technologies play in advancing the 2030 Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals. and also the African Union Agenda 2063. This webinar, as you all know, was organized by UNDESA and APAM collaboration. APAM and UNDESA are very close partners and shall continue to work in partnership to improve the capacity of the public service delivery and the entire development of the African continent. We have critically delved into the innovative strategies and best practices that government across the globe, including Egypt, Korea, and the entire Africa, are implementing to harness the power of digitization. We have spoken on issues from citizen engagement to improving service delivery. The impact of these initiatives, you will agree with me, are profound and far-reaching. These discussions have shed light on the tremendous potential of digital technologies to empower governments and citizens alike. We have explored how digital tools can bridge the digital divide, enhance service delivery, and ultimately contribute to a more prosperous and sustainable future for the continent of Africa and the entire group. I believe that this session has sparked valuable ideas and inspire you to consider how digital government initiatives can be implemented within Africa, your own regions, and even in your own organizations. As we move forward, let us continue to collaborate, innovate, and leverage the potential of digital government transformation to build a more prosperous, inclusive, and sustainable world. At this point, let me take the opportunity again to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our very distinguished moderators, Mr. Dana, and our moderator, Professor Kauzia, our keynote speaker, and other speakers for their very insightful discussions and contributions. Your expertise and commitment to driving positive change are truly commendable. We also thank Mr. Joseph Dada MNI, the APAM Deputy President, and Madam Haley Kim for the very inspiring opening remarks. Further, I would sincerely thank the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, UNDESA, through their Division for the Public Institutions and Digital Government, and its Project Office of United Nations Project Office on Governance, for their unwavering commitment to promoting sustainable development and digital government. I thank the director and staff of UNDESA. I thank all APAM Executive Committee members. I sincerely thank staff of the APAM Secretariat for partnering with the UNDESA to deliver this successful program. Most importantly, I thank the very large number of participants who attended this program, and I believe they have listened attentively. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, let me encourage you to stay connected and continue the conversation. Let's work together to harness the power of digital transformation and build a brighter future, especially for Africa. I thank you once again for your participation, and I wish you a very wonderful rest of the day. Thank you, and wish all of you the best.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. On this thankful note, we really appreciate everyone for all the wonderful engagements and excellent inputs. So to be able to get feedback from our distinguished participants, we are sharing the link to the post-event survey. We kindly invite you to submit your candid opinion or candid inputs to be able to help us improve on our capacity development activities. Thank you all to the high-level speakers, our head of office, Ms. Kim, John, Mr. Songju, Vincenzo from Egypt, from APAM, and everybody, and to our very cherished president of APAM for the wonderful ending for this workshop, for this webinar. We really appreciate it. And good afternoon to you all who are starting your day, and good evening to you all who are ending your day from our end. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Kindly share with us your inputs on the post-invest survey. Yeah. Thank you.